Good morning and thanks so much for tuning into the trade setup with me, Niraj Shah. It's the Diwali week. Hopefully, the market gods also smile upon us. Well, let's take stock of the global news flow first before I move on to anything else. The US 10-year Treasury yield inched higher after hitting 3-month highs, 4.27 now. Nobody's pricing in rate cuts anymore, I would presume. US stock futures have risen with the Nasdaq set to add to records. This adds to a little bit of optimism in the session today. By the way, what also adds to optimism, India-China begin implementing new border pact, ending the Himalayan face-off. So the implementation has begun as well. Japan, of course, faces political upheaval as the LDP coalition loses majority. This is the big talking point in global markets in the session today. The yen also has had some movement. So this is what the US markets did, but the futures are interesting, up 0.44%, Nasdaq futures 2 in the green. Asia, Japanese markets have actually risen 1.66%. The rest of the street is flattish. Our markets, which have seen turmoil really, we are at 24,229 or thereabouts, 24,215 for the Nifty futures, well, knocking on the doors of 24,000. I think this is now coming to a head, just about the levels from where I think some smart money will start nibbling into it. We'll start off flattish today. So what's the trade setup today? You know, the mid-cap and the small-cap indices have seen the worst weekly drop since December 2022. That tells you a story. The correction has brought the Nifty 1-year forward P multiple at 20.2 times. We were talking about 24 times, 25 times the index trading. We are now at 20 times, less than one standard deviation above the long-term averages. I think this is, to my mind, this is now getting to a level from which a bounce back could happen. Just that, avoid leverage because it's very difficult to time this. You and I can both go wrong every single day after predicting this. And by the way, look at the status of the correction. From the October highs, the Sensex is down by 577%, Midcaps is down 6.6, small cap is down 8.82%. And the Sensex is not the only one in the correcting territory. Sensex is down 5.77%, Hang Seng 10.86%. For so much brouhaha around Chinese markets, ASX, Kospi, all of them have corrected a little bit as well. So bear this in mind. Stocks to watch, though, it's a very long list, so I'll get straight to that. Interglobe Aviation is the first one on my radar. Revenues were up 14%, in line with estimates, I would reckon. The EBITDA margins, though, at 14.3% versus 16.4%, a net loss of 987 crores versus a profit of 189 crores. But I like to highlight a few things. First, Indigo in the last few days has corrected seriously. So the last 5 days, Indigo has fallen for 5 straight days. It's the longest loss streak for Interglobe Aviation in 20 months. And I think what Citi is saying is important because it's not just about the numbers, it's about the commentary. So Citi says that despite a strong market share, stable yields and aircraft on ground reducing, the management appeared cautious. This is the problem. There has been some normalization on demand as well, with higher competition on the international markets for Interglobe Aviation, and management has noted that the 3Q unit revenue would actually be down YOY, low mixed single digits, even as the cost inflation persists. So there is some stress for Interglobe in the quarters to come, not as much only about the quarter gone by. Coal India, another weak set of numbers. Revenues were down 6.4%, operating profit margins at 28 versus expectation of 33.9. PAT down 22% at 6275. The estimates were 8444 crores. Weak quarter. Tattva Chintan, howler of a quarter. Revenue is down 14% at 83 crores. Operating margins 6.14 versus 21.64. The estimates were 14.8, and a net loss versus a profit of 8 crores. This one will be taken to the cleaners today. Intellect Design Arena, another stock which will get hit. Revenues were down 8%, 558 versus estimate of 614. Margins 633 basis points lower at 7.52. The estimates was 14.3. Net profit down 29% at 52 crores. The estimate was 82 crores. Has looked very wobbly, could react. Weak Q2 for a clutch of other names. Jaiswal Necco, Godavari Power, JK Cement, Aztec Life, Praj Industries, all of these very likely will have a bit of a wobble in the session today. For all of them, the reasons are different, of course, but the headline numbers or these numbers show you that all of these might have a bit of a corrective move today. DLF was a bit of a mixed bag. Revenues were above estimates, but margins came off way lower than estimated numbers, as a result of which the net profit too, because of one-offs, of course, was higher, but otherwise wasn't the best performance. Brokerage is not that constructive on this quarterly numbers. Let's see if this one corrects. Now, let me also give you some good news. ICICI Bank might shore up the index today. And without getting into too many details, paucity of time, Jefferies note lays it all. They have a buy, target price has been raised to 1550. They say it's in a league of its own and stays amongst the top picks. Healthy deposit growth, lowest LDR amongst private peers should aid loan growth, and the deposit growth rose 16%, by the way. This is why they're saying it's a healthy deposit growth, and ROA, ROE could improve materially in FY26. Watch out for this one. Shakti Pumps, another blockbuster quarter for this one. Revenues up 315% at 634 crores versus 152 crores. Margins at 23.4 versus 9.9. PAT at 101 versus 5.84. These are expensive stocks, but they are doing really well in the quarter. Inox Wind 2, expensive stock, but look at the numbers. Revenues up 97%. EBITDA margin at 23.49. The estimated was 17.3. PAT at 90 crores. The estimate was 69 crores. Put in all the right feet forward. Let's see if it reacts. Strong quarter for Make Money, Sirma, UTIMC, Nuvama Wealth. All of these could also have a positive move in the session today, so do watch out. Lastly, very quickly, some other good numbers. Texmaco Rail, very strong numbers. Just the headline numbers look very promising, so this one could react positively. Krishna Diagnostic, very positive numbers. Maybe slightly lower than estimate, but good quarter, good margins, may react. GMR Power, again, very good numbers, maybe slightly lower than estimated, but very strong quarter. And let's see if this one reacts as well. Lastly, what do you buy in the weakness? JSW Energy. Jefferies says so, that buy into the weakness because it's on track to deliver a multiple things, and therefore they have maintained the buy. They have raised the target price to 860. So do watch out for this one as well. Thanks so much for yours for tuning into the Trade Setup.